So game 2 in South Africa versus England. It was an interesting one last time. Nobody, I think, expected 42 points to 39. I don't think either coach will be completely happy with their team's performance. I mean, for the South Africans, it's kind of like back to winning ways for a change, which is always nice. To get a win over England is great for them. But to concede such a big lead at the start and then to let in a few points at the end would have been disappointing. And for Eddie Jones, like, just that lead disappearing was no doubt kind of frustrating. So one would assume that this week's game will be a bit tighter. Both sides will be pretty desperate because Rassie Erasmus will be feeling the pressure and the weight of expectations on him as Springbok coach to kind of get things right, and this is kind of just raise those expectations. For Eddie Jones, I did a video the other day about world rankings, and England have dropped one spot and could possibly drop further. And their loss record right now is sitting at 4 in a row, so they will be desperate not to make it 5. I'll put the squads of both teams in the description now that they've both been named, but I mean a few points for the Springboks. Malherbe is in for Roux. Roux was criticised last week for his scrummaging, so I guess that's why the axe has fallen there. Just could be that Malherbe is back fit and he's just a better candidate. Pieter-Steph replaces Jean-Luc in the number 7 jersey. He wasn't able, this is really to have that much impact on the game. Like, he's been having some kind of barnstorming runs in Super Rugby, but last week things just didn't go his way, so I guess that's another reason. Plus, Pieter-Steph is good in the line-out. The Beast makes his 100th Test appearance, so kind of good for him. That's always a feel-good story to see a guy, especially a big prop, get that 100th Test. And Elton Jantjies has been dropped from the squad entirely. Kind of criticised for some poor D in that game last week. It does raise the question, though, that with Jantjies gone and Jesse Creel's the man being brought in, who's not a number 10, what happens if Handre Pollard goes down? There's no specialist fly half cover on the bench for the Boks. Apparently, it's either going to be Roux to go in at 10 and Faf de Klerk to do the kicking, or in an emergency de Klerk will just play 10. So fingers crossed for the Boks that Handre goes for the full 80 and doesn't have any issues. If there was ever a reason for England to double down on any efforts to disrupt what he's doing, or to put a bit of extra power into some of those hits on him, this would be it. For England, the kind of axe has fallen on Robshaw quicker than expected. I mean, with Brad Shields coming along, the writing was kind of on the wall that Shields will be gunning for Robshaw's job. But you thought maybe it'll take a while, but it's taken one game. Shields is in the lineup. From what Eddie Jones has said, it's basically a direct counter to what the South Africans are doing with Pieter-Steph du Toit. Eddie Jones, in an interview I said with him, I think it was before the Boks team had been named, was just that he predicted that Pieter-Steph du Toit would get picked, and he wanted to kind of counter that in the line-out. So he thinks Shields is kind of a better option. So Robshaw doesn't make the 23 at all. Cipriani is in on the bench, though. I think a lot of people kind of expected him to play last week, so it'll be good to see what he can do, kind of what he can add from the bench. Launchbury replaces Ezekiel, who was subbed really early last week. I assumed he was injured, but perhaps it was just performance-based. And Mark Wilson is on the bench. So yeah, like I said, expectations are pretty high under Rassie, and having had a pretty big comeback win, the feel-good factor is there, but a loss this week would kind of bring things back down to earth, so there's pressure on him, and as I said, the opposite end of the scale for Eddie Jones. It's just they have to get things right, because that loss tally is really starting to add up. I mean, if you include that Barbars game, if they lose this one, that would make 6 in a row, otherwise it's 5. So, yeah, the media will kind of be unkind on him if that were to be the case. But, Eddie's a smart guy, so we'll see what he comes up with. I mentioned some of the comments that all he has to do is get it right for 2019, and this tour will kind of be forgotten if they were to lose it. But ideally you don't want to lose 5 in a row. So, yeah, we'll see how things go. The bookies are predicting South Africa by 3, so I guess they're taking that from somewhere. One would assume less than or fewer than 10 tries this week, but hey, if it's another 10 try fest, I'm not going to be complaining. Alright guys, you let me know your thoughts on the squads and on what you think is going to happen in this one, and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.